my parents were told I was not going to be self-sufficient. I was not going to be able to take care of myself. I would not be contributing to society. Going to college was out of the question. I might finish high school. And now my mom pounded her fist on that desk and said, I refuse to allow you to condemn my daughter. And our mantra was, Ellen, you know you can do it. Prove them wrong, prove them wrong.
Life Reimagined with Stacey Ray.
Before we hear from Ellen, don't forget to like, subscribe, share, and follow us so you never miss an episode of Life Reimagined. How are you, Ellen Busch?
I'm great. How are you?
I'm great. I am so happy to meet you. So I'm going to start with the fact that as a child, you were diagnosed with dyslexia.
Correct.
At a time where, like many other things, it really wasn't understood. And your whole life on how you've overcome this and made all of your dreams come true, despite what they said. And it really all started with your parents, which, again, in that day and age was also very different.
Yes.
So tell me about how all that happened.
Well, I guess I'd start with my parents. You know, they were uncommon. My mom, in the late 50s and early 60s, before she met my dad, was a career woman. And that very uncommon then.
Yes.
She was not married, so she needed to have a job and support herself, and she really thrived. She worked for Volkswagen, and she became the highest ranked and the highest paid woman in the firm. She was responsible for distribution of the Volkswagen Beetle, or I should say...
the punch buggy? Yeah.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Well, when the Beetle was launched, she was responsible for the distribution for all of the mid-Atlantic states, including New York. So all the cars that were coming across from Germany, she was responsible for that. And that was right around when the Beetle hit the market. And everybody knows, who knows about that, knows that that was a big deal.
That was a big deal. Yes. Yeah, for sure.
Exactly. No, she was very fortunate because her boss and her boss's boss were actually friends of hers that she went to school with. So very small world. She grew up with them in church, in parochial school in Brooklyn, New York City. So she was in a really good supportive situation for a career woman, which was extremely uncommon. So, and my parents met at work.
Oh, did your dad also work for Volkswagen?
Yeah, he did. And when he got out of the Army, that was his first job. And his first day on the job, this is kind of a cute story. He was, doing his onboarding and meeting with his manager in the cafeteria, having some coffee, and a woman walked into the cafeteria with a beautiful red dress. And he said, well, who is that? And the manager said, oh, that's Ellen Marshall. And he said, thanks for telling me because I'm going to marry her.
Oh my gosh. Don't you... Okay, you're their daughter, so it has a different meaning for you.
Right.
For me, I just think that's like so awesome. I love when I hear stories like that. Yeah.
It's a wonderful story.
Yeah.
But I digress. I apologize.
That's okay. No, it's fine. I love hearing this.
So they got married early 60s, maybe 63. So I was born in 1969. So I have this combination of parents who, my mom's this incredibly accomplished career woman when that didn't really happen. And my dad was a military veteran, so he had that persona and training and let's get it done. And he had a very strong attitude about raising daughters, too. He was very, very focused on our growth and development. He was always training us. And I mean that in a good way, and it was always loving and age appropriate. But, at 8 years old, I was standing on an upside down bucket, holding onto the steering wheel of his boat. And he was teaching me how to navigate.
Oh, my goodness.
And he always had this attitude of, I never want you girls to be dependent on a husband. I want you to be prepared for whatever life throws at you. And I'm going to teach you and do everything I can to make sure that you're prepared.
Yeah.
You're talking about the mid 1970s.
Yeah.
That was not common.
No, and I can tell you my dad, and I was very, very close to my dad, but he was also very protective of me, not only of his eldest child, the daughter. He wanted me to find Mr. Right,
Mm-hmm.
get married,
Mm-hmm.
and then he could delegate his duties to someone else of taking care of me.
Right. Right.
Whereas my mom gave completely conflicting opinions,
Okay.
get your degree
Mhm.
and, have a little mad money in your pocket. And although I think, she still was thinking I should get married and have children, but yeah, you're right. Very different times.
And things were, I think, were in flux. Things were
Yes.
changing.
Yeah. So here they were, two really strong people
Right.
who really wanted to, for the lack of a better term, empower their daughters to
Mm-hmm.
be completely self-sufficient, and then they get this thing from the school
Yep.
that says your daughter has no shot.
There was actually a conversation with the administrator, and I write about this in my book, where my parents were told, they should focus on finding me a husband,
Oh
absolutely
boy.
contradictory to what their plan was,
Correct.
because I was not going to be self sufficient. I was not going to be able to take care of myself. I would not be contributing to society.
Right.
Going to college was out of the question. I might finish high school. And now my mom, to give you a little picture, had been a ballet dancer as a teenager and a little girl. So she was 5'3", brunette, soaking wet, 110 pounds maybe.
Yeah.
And she pounded her fist on that desk and said, "I refuse to allow you to condemn my daughter."
Oh, bravo to her.
Yes. So, and my father was there, and he was, the military veteran with the crew cut and the big shoulders. He just had to look at you.
Yeah. 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 I already know the look. I was married to a retired Marine. Trust
Oh,
me.
so you
Yeah.
know.
Yeah, I do know. Yeah. 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 Yeah.
So that was really the beginning of the fight. And they fought for me. They helped me with my homework daily. My mom became a class mom. I don't think they even do that anymore.
This was long before IEPs and things like that even existed, right?
The IEPs were just coming online. And when I
Okay.
got further into schooling, I had an IEP.
Okay.
So
Okay. Yeah.
I'm not quite sure when they started doing that. I'm not even sure if the Americans with Disabilities Act had been passed at that point. Once a child is diagnosed, and I really don't like that word, but
I
that's the
know.
word that is appropriate.
Yeah.
They now fall under the protection of the Americans with Disabilities Act. And schools have to provide reasonable accommodations for those students. So that's what my parents began hounding on.
Mhm.
There are laws, and you need to provide for my child. And my mother was involved daily, making sure that I was being taken care of. And that's great, and that's important, and mission critical, really.
Yeah.
But the problem is the beliefs or the bias in the label and what the administrators believed, that I would never be academically successful, that I would never contribute to society. They said it out loud.
Which is mind blowing to me, although, and not to equate these two as equal, let's think of the way they treated children who were diagnosed with Down syndrome.
Exactly.
Same thing. Institutionalize your child.
Right.
They'll never amount to anything. They won't be able to care. And now look, yesterday I went to get new eyeglasses. I had to do a double take because in the children's section,
Hmm.
there was the most beautiful girl who clearly has Down syndrome
Sure.
modeling these glasses. And it thrilled me because I was like, why can't she do that? And,
Right.
we hear more and more of that. So, yes, I see what you're saying. Like, that is an academic death sentence.
Yeah, exactly. My self-esteem and self-worth were destroyed, despite having the support and love of two amazing parents.
Right.
So if I didn't have that, I don't even want to imagine where I would be today.
Right.
That's frightening.
So, even if your parents, though, are giving you this great push and they're the best advocates you could ever ask for.
Mhm.
There had to be something in you, some the grit and the determination and the resilience to say, yeah, you're making me feel like crap right now,
Mhm.
but,
Mhm.
and there's the but. How did
Yes.
you get past the but?
Well, this was a mantra that came from my dad. And, again, falling back on his military training that you got to get it done and you can do it. And if you believe you can, you can. And our mantra was, Ellen, you can do it. Prove them wrong, prove them wrong. And it literally became a mantra for me
Every day,
every
everything you
day.
did.
And when we would do homework, my mom, after dinner, we'd sit at the dining table and I would do my homework and I would get frustrated and angry and throw my paper across the room and my pencil. And then mom would calm me down and dad would be in the background. Prove them wrong, Ellen. Prove them wrong. You know you can do it. And then he also taught me about micro goals. One question at a time. Just work through it one question at a time. You know you can do it. So I always had that positive reinforcement at home. Now, in the classroom, I had the exact opposite.
Yeah, tell me about that.
So it was just, it was so frustrating because it was obvious that I was behind my peers. I had this constant reinforcement in the classroom that I couldn't do it and that it was a
Mhm.
constant struggle.
Yeah.
But I had that mantra from dad playing in the back of my head: prove them wrong, one question at a time, work through it, you can do it, prove them wrong, you know you can do it. And that was, I think the key word was, you know you can do it.
Yes, you know.
You
You
know you can.
know. Yeah.
Yes. And that's what kept me going. And then, to be honest, a piece of me got angry. There was frustration and anger, and I turned that into determination.
Anger is a very useful tool, I find, if
It
it's
is.
channeled in the right way.
It is.
Yeah. Were you
It is.
bullied?
Oh my God, I was bullied. I was terribly bullied, specifically in first and second grade.
At the age where you think kids are too young to be that nasty.
They were horrible. I mean, if they could have stuffed me into a garbage can with a bag around my head and gotten away with it, I think they would have.
Oh my gosh.
I mean, it
Ellen,
was
that like is
cruel.
heartbreaking to
It
me.
is. It was god awful. I still struggle to reconcile the cruelty in children that I grew up with.
Yes. Yes.
That's really hard to understand.
So I always have a theory about bullying, and I always believe that children are not born bullies.
Hmm.
Children learn bullying, and primarily from their parents.
I agree.
So then it makes you wonder, why would the parents
Hmm.
think it was appropriate to tell these mean things to their children that the children could use against you or any other child for that matter?
I think that would almost be a mental health issue and a
Yeah.
self-awareness issue,
Yeah.
and the result of carrying around unresolved trauma as a parent.
Yeah.
I think that would probably be the origin of that. I'm not a therapist. I don't have a good degree in
Right. Right.
psychology,
You
but
don't even play one on TV. I get it.
exactly.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
But that is a logical thought process or context, I
Yeah.
think.
So when you're being bullied
Hmm.
and your self-esteem is so low or to non-existent already,
Yeah.
and you're not just being bullied by children, you're being bullied by teachers and academics, and you have this amazing resilience
Hmm.
and anger
Hmm.
that carries you through. Where did it ultimately take you academically?
Well, I did go to college, despite what the experts said.
Yes.
I have a bachelor's degree in allied health, which is in all the sciences. So you're talking
Yes.
physiology, chemistry, genetics,
Yes.
exercise physiology, just to name a few. And then I went on for a master's degree.
You got a master's degree.
I have an MBA, yes.
Wow. How much extra work? I do not have dyslexia and I do not
Sure.
have any learning disorder that I am aware of.
Mhm.
How much harder and extra work did you have to put in to achieve those unbelievable feats?
Well, it changed as I moved through the school system. Elementary school really played to my weaknesses, but as you move and get older, you start to talk about problem solving and logical thinking and things like that. So that is my strength. Seeing patterns, seeing gists that other people miss.
Right,
So, in elementary school, at least, around the time when we went through school, it was, I don't
right,
know how it is now, and I'm not a parent, so I don't want to make
right.
it up.
Yeah, I don't know for sure either. So,
Sure. So it's about memorizing those spelling words,
oh yeah,
memorizing your times tables, memorizing. And one of the things I understand about my brain, and every dyslexic person is going to be slightly different. Nobody is
yeah,
in the same bucket. But
sure.
that was my weakness. I have very little to no what they would call working memory.
Oh, okay.
So, but my long-term memory is incredible. And it's almost like I have a database.
Kind of like the photographic memory I tend to have. Yes.
Yes, kind of like that, but not in pictures, more in concepts or ideas.
Oh, I'm intrigued.
So this is where things get really interesting. So the farther along I got, the less and less accommodations I needed and the less support I needed. In my first 2 years in college for my bachelor's degree, I needed a little bit support, but by the time I got to my master's degree, I didn't need any support. The only thing I did ask for was a little bit of extra time on my tests.
Ah,
And that was an accommodation that was given to me. It had always been given to me.
right.
So by the time I was really second year in college, I was mainstreamed completely. But it wasn't until then that I was mainstreamed. Now, to come back to what you were asking about, what I think is intriguing you is about the database in my head and the
Yes.
long-term memory.
Yeah.
So when you are able to hold on to that kind of information, people like me are able to see gists and patterns and come up with creative ideas that other people wouldn't come up with because we have so much information. The way that I like to describe how my brain works is it's kind of like a matrix or a three-dimensional snowflake. So I have all these bits and pieces of information, and I can see the interconnectedness between all of them. And it is a talent that we are known for. British intelligence services actually is actively recruiting people who are documented as dyslexic because they're so good at seeing patterns and gists that most people miss.
So let me tell you what my knowledge of dyslexia is, and then I
Sure.
want you to tell us really what it is. But my knowledge is you're not able to read, the letters get transposed. That's it. Now you're telling me you have a superpower,
Mhm.
which is absolutely incredible to me because not that you have a superpower and you happen to also have dyslexia, but it's something that is not shared. It's
Mhm.
not something that is openly known, I don't think.
Mhm.
So, how did you use this? I hope you don't mind me calling it a
Oh,
superpower. How
sure.
did you
Absolutely.
how did you start using the superpower
Mhm.
for your own and other people's advantage?
So your perception of dyslexia is very common. Just to add to that, a lot of
Yeah.
people will often associate it with laziness and not working hard enough. So there's that perception. But really, what it is it's a processing issue. And that's pretty much accepted by the academic community as far as I understand. So I am a visual thinker. Now, I don't know if you know that Einstein is generally accepted as having been dyslexic.
I was not aware of this at all.
Yes, he is. Generally, the scientific community says that he was dyslexic. He was a visual thinker. I am a visual thinker. I like to say that our first language isn't language. Our first language is visual concepts. And we have to learn language. And it takes us a little bit longer because it's not our first language. Einstein was a late talker, and he talked a lot about visualization and imagination and how important that was.
Right.
So you have that piece of it. And then I realized at a very, very early age, I'm talking first or second grade, and just want to back up here and add another dimension to this. A
Sure.
lot of people associate dyslexia with being a lack of intelligence.
Yes. That I have heard.
Yes, and that nothing could be further from the truth.
Correct.
In first or second grade, I scored 114 on an IQ test.
Yeah.
So
So there you
yeah,
go. Yeah.
there you go. So you have this perception of what's going on, and then a classroom that isn't designed for me as a child. So I learned that I had to figure out how to make the classroom work for me. And I had to find techniques to memorize things that worked for me. I had to work twice or three times or sometimes four times as hard as my classmates, at least early on.
Right.
Now, later in life, that becomes a huge asset.
Yeah.
So I could outwork everybody. And I did.
And to manipulate your environment to
Exactly.
work for you
Exactly.
to enhance your success.
Exactly. And I can give you a great example, but this is an example from college. But it
Okay.
does come back to the rote memory or the working memory. So when
Mhm.
I took anatomy, anatomy is pure memorization.
One of my favorite topics, by the way, but go ahead. Yeah,
It's fascinating.
I know.
And so you have, for example, you have the bicep muscle, and you
Yeah.
have to memorize the name, where it is, its origin, and its insertion. And you have to do that for every muscle in the human body and every bone. That for me is extremely difficult. But what I found is that there's actually a book out there called the Anatomy Coloring Book. And all the names of the muscles are bubbled. And then there's the anatomy piece of it. So what they have you do is they have you color in the word with a magic marker of any color of your choice. And then the same muscle you color in the muscle. So I learned to associate the color with the
The
muscle, the
muscle.
origin, and the insertion. So that was a trick that I used to help me get through that rote memorization struggle.
Wow. And I'm going to so I am a healthcare professional and
Okay.
I am advanced in cardiopulmonary systems. And it took many semesters of advanced anatomy and physiology.
Yeah.
And you're right. For me, complete memorization,
Yeah.
no issue. And I'm sitting here thinking of all the people in my class who had
Mm-hmm.
difficulty
Mm-hmm.
with the memorization and wish they could have had that coloring book.
Yes. It's a great tool.
Well, and I also love to color,
There you
so
go.
that would be very relaxing and
Yeah.
refresh my memory on the human body and what have you. But wow, that is really a unique way of learning.
Mm-hmm. And I had to find those unique techniques. I had to figure them out. I had to make them up as I went along. I just knew I had to. I had to find something that worked for me. It wasn't a choice.
Right. There's a term that is being used that I hear now all the time,
Mm-hmm.
neurodivergent.
Mm-hmm.
Didn't really become part of our vocabulary till like maybe the early 2000s. Is that right?
Yeah.
Is dyslexia considered part of neurodivergency?
Yes. Yes, it is. I think the real shift in the importance of using the word neurodivergent
Hmm.
is that in the past we were only looking at deficits
Yes. And not strengths.
and not
Yeah.
strengths. And, there's a lot of autistic people out there who are amazing coders. So there are companies out there who are recruiting them. Clearly, that's not a deficit, but it is
No.
a difference.
Yeah. And here's what I say to that. I come to work every day, and let's say my work pattern is I want to be left alone.
Hmm.
I need to focus. Outside noise is very disruptive to me, and I can't focus, right? Someone else comes to work and sits down, and they need their day to be very social, to be
Hmm.
productive.
Yeah.
We are working two completely different ways.
Hmm.
But nobody's making a big deal out of that in the workforce. And
Right.
nobody's acting like either one of those things is a deficit. There's so much more ahead right after this short break.
Life is meant for exploring, and Sisterhood Travels is your invitation to rediscover you. Specializing in group travel for women 45 and over, we offer exciting trips to stunning destinations around the globe. Imagine tasting exotic foods, marveling at breathtaking landscapes, and connecting with incredible women who share your zest for life. Step into adventure, friendship, and joy at sisterhoodtravels.com. This is your time, your journey.
Picking right up where we left off. So, when you graduated with your MBA, where did that take you? Because now you've done something everyone said Ellen can't do.
Well, this is where the battle begins for my self-esteem and self-worth,
I see.
because I couldn't give myself credit. I was still completely traumatized, still carrying around that low self-esteem, still carrying around that low self-worth. And that continued for many years. In fact, I did get married, and unfortunately, I got married to a narcissist. I fell for a narcissist. I knew I was settling. I just didn't know the price I was going to pay for settling the way I did. I didn't believe that I was worthy of an outstanding man of character. I didn't believe it, because I was the broken, stupid little dyslexic girl. She was still unhealed living inside of me.
And so you married a narcissist, and I want to touch on that in a second,
Sure.
but clearly that had to lead to an abusive relationship, yeah?
Oh, yes. I was married for 6 years. We had one incident of physical violence, but it was 6 years of psychological abuse. And then finally, one morning, I woke up and just, my subconscious was screaming at me to get out. And I've written great detail about this in my book. I had to plan and execute an escape. I did not understand how much danger I was in. And to any of your viewers or listeners, if you are in a relationship with a narcissistic partner, you are at risk, significant risk. And I, like I said, did not understand that. It wasn't until I met with an attorney, and an attorney scared the hell out of me.
I'm sure.
And she said, you have to get out, and you have to get out now, as soon as possible. Do not tell him you are leaving.
Right.
Take what you want and go.
Disappear.
Yes. And fortunately, my parents were willing to take me in at 43. I did not tell them what was going on, just that it wouldn't work, because I knew what my father, the military veteran, would have done, and it would not have been
Yeah, I know
pleasant.
what you would have done too.
Yeah,
Yeah.
you do know.
Yeah, I do. Yeah.
Fortunately, I made it out. 70%, I don't know if you're aware of this statistic, but 70% of the women who try and get out are murdered.
Yes, I also know that takes an average of 7 tries
Oh,
for
wow. I didn't
women
know that.
to escape. But let's talk about that concept of narcissism and
Sure.
why it's so dangerous.
Hmm.
I would love for you to share with our listeners
Sure.
what that term really means and what it means in a relationship. Obviously, it is not the same for every relationship, but
Of
there are
course.
some very general commonalities, I think.
Sure. So my experience
Hmm.
is that there is no love. You are an object. You are a possession. Or I should say, I was an object. I was a
Hmm.
possession. I was a psychological chew toy to be played with and to validate the ego of my ex-husband. Anything and everything that I asked for, he would do the exact opposite. It was a constant psychological game.
Gaslighting,
Gaslighting, manipulation, control, you name it.
financial control as well.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And the only thing that matters to the narcissist is the ego. And if you hurt them, they will come after you with everything they have, and they will
Yeah.
even self-destruct to
Yeah.
get retribution.
And if this is hard for you to talk about right now, we
Nope.
don't have to continue, but I think that your story is so incredibly vital, and you're so generous to share it with, the women who listen to us, and,
Yeah.
possibly men too, because the reverse
Yes,
can always be true.
absolutely.
Yeah. So once you left, were
Mhm.
you even able to do that and not feel like you were continually in danger, or did you get to a point where you no longer felt you were?
Well, because I was with my parents, I was
Hmm.
safe. I knew that
Okay.
my ex-husband was terrified of my father, which was smart.
So their fear
Mhm.
can outweigh some parts of the narcissism.
Well, for self-preservation.
Right.
Yeah,
Because the goal is, okay, if I can't do it to her, I'll do it to someone else. Yeah.
exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah. I've heard people talk about it. They view another human being, a spouse or a partner, as supply.
Yes.
I've heard that term. I actually did a podcast with a very nice gentleman named Jared Mello, who is divorced from a narcissist and has two children, young children. And he's trying to cope with this. And he has a podcast, and kind of getting the word out there from the male perspective.
Right.
And he really opened my eyes to the fact that it's not just women. There's a lot of men who are being abused.
I actually have a friend, and I'm actually going to connect him with Jared, and I know who Jared is.
Oh, you do? Okay, great.
Yes, I do. And now, I could be wrong, but I heard you're a real badass, okay?
Thank you. Well,
Because
yeah.
you
Hmm.
started training
Hmm.
with a Navy SEAL, didn't you?
Yes, that's correct.
I want to hear about this. I
Okay,
really want to hear about this because, oh my gosh,
sure.
you know, fantasy in my mind, like, yeah, I could be one of those tough people.
Yeah,
Reality is like, I don't even know how to put a push broom together. So
right,
tell
right.
me about
Sure.
that. I am dying to hear about this.
Sure. Well, to lay a little bit of a foundation, I got
Mm-hmm.
out of the marriage and was
Mm-hmm.
completely traumatized. I mean, I was driving through stop signs and red lights. I could not function.
Wow.
And realized that I needed help, realized that I needed to take a long, hard look at myself to make sure this didn't happen again, because if
Yeah.
it happened again, I might not survive the second time. So I went to work with coaches and therapists. And to answer your question specifically, I found an amazing coach, an amazing coaching program that is led by Lieutenant Commander Mark Devine, retired. And he was a Navy SEAL who has a training program for civilians.
Oh, it is for
It
civilians.
is for civilians, yes.
Okay. Doesn't make it less hardcore, just, yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah,
Well,
yeah.
a Navy SEAL is a Navy SEAL,
That's right. Yeah.
no matter how you dress that up. And he has a cadre of retired or former SEALs who are also his instructors and coaches. He has online training programs. He's a 5 times New York Times bestseller. He just got his PhD in leadership. Just an amazing man. And he has incorporated his Navy SEAL training with some Eastern practices like breath work, yoga. And so he has this incredibly comprehensive program. And I started attending his in person events. And I have been to 6 of his events. Now, some of his events are not physically oriented.
Yeah.
A lot of them are, there is a physical component, like they take us down to the beach and we do beach games.
Okay.
If you've ever seen on movies and TV, some people will call it surf torture, where you go into the surf and you're linked arms with your boat crew and the waves are crashing over your head and you have to work together as a team. And
How
there's,
do you find the trust to do those exercises, though?
well, and that's part of the growth process. And
Ah,
you rely on your team and your team relies on you, and
right.
it's reciprocal.
Right.
And one of Mark's sayings is that you take your eyes off yourself and put your eyes on your team.
Oh, that's profound. I like that.
Yeah. And if everybody on that boat crew does that, you're going to take care of each other. So the trust is there.
Repeat that again.
Take your eyes off yourself and put them on your team.
Perfect.
And if,
Perfect.
again, every teammate who does that, now you've got a cohesive team that is going to be unstoppable.
So Did you do this so that you could learn self-defense or build confidence or all of the above? What made you want to do it?
Yeah, it was kind of all of the above. And the
Yeah.
techniques are so powerful, or I should say the tools are so powerful. And really the most important tool that he teaches is a consistent breath practice.
And what does that do for one?
That, well, it starts by calming down the nervous system
Okay.
because we are all crazy busy and so much is coming at us so fast.
Yeah.
Often we're in fight or flight mode consistently. And then if you've got some underlying unresolved trauma, that just compounds the issue.
Yeah.
So when we begin to bring down or calm the nervous system down, that's when we can start to have insights. We can start to relax a little bit and kind of take in the world and what's happening and going on and realizing, and that's also a time where we can be introspective and realize what is really happening inside of me, what's going on in my heart. So that's I believe, and he'll tell you, the most important tool that he teaches is a consistent, and that's the key word, a consistent breath practice.
I am one of those people that stays in constant fight or flight.
We
I
all do.
am constantly in stress mode because, running your own business, being
Mhm.
responsible for other people, life's things it throws at you. These are all things that you convince yourself, I don't have time to take a break, and
Yeah.
certainly not to breathe consistently. I
Yeah.
don't have time to even learn how to do that, which is nonsense. I
Exactly.
realize.
We
Okay,
all do
I
it.
get it. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. So, and let me just say, are you still working with him, or was that a time limited thing?
No, I have been part of his program since 2016. I'm also now an Unbeatable Mind certified coach. Yeah, that's through his
Oh,
program. Yeah. And I haven't been to an in-person event in a while, but
right,
he has online programs. He has a monthly performance coaching call. Because I'm a coach, I'm on the coaching calls.
right.
I have access to those as well. So I'm constantly still part of the community, even though it's remote. It's an incredible network of friends, and sometimes I do get to meet them in person.
Going through this process and continuing to go through this process, do you feel safe?
Yes. Now, I have done a tremendous amount of healing, also working with an EMDR specialist, but specifically, I have done two trainings. One was with Mark and his team that had three components. It had self-defense,
Yes.
firearms training, and
Okay.
then also emergency medical training. Now, I'm a former EMT, but
Right.
but I took that training was 20 years ago. So I went to one of Mark's events called Sheepdog Training.
Okay.
And the concept of sheepdogs is how the Navy SEALs view themselves. They are the protectors. Well, there's three kinds of people in the world. And if you've ever seen the movie American Sniper, this is actually discussed in the movie.
I have not seen the movie, but you may excite me to see it.
It's very good.
Yeah.
So at one point, the main character as a child is having a discussion with his father at the dinner table. And he says, son, there's three kinds of people in the world. There's sheep, sheepdogs, and they're wolves. Which one are you going to be?
Oh my goodness.
Yeah.
Wow, what a question.
Yeah. So the Navy SEALs really view themselves as sheepdogs. They are the protectors. Now, I'm not a firearms enthusiast, but
Yeah,
one of the things my father wanted for me was to know how to safely handle a firearm.
right.
That's just a good thing to know. If I ever have to pick one up, how do I clear it? How do I know how to handle it safely? So that was a component of this. I got to be on the firing range with a retired Navy SEAL of 20 years and got to work with him one-on-one. And we had 3 days of training. Then it was divided up between time on the range, self-defense training, where I worked with a veteran Wing Chun expert.
A wind.
Wing Chun, which is
Okay.
what Bruce Lee practiced.
Okay.
And the man who I got to train with, his sensei or his master was trained under Bruce Lee directly.
Oh my.
Yes. And then we also had emergency medical training, how to deal with catastrophic wounds. And with all the shootings that happen in our society today, that's a darn good skill to have.
No kidding. No kidding.
So 3 days of training with these guys, and I came 72 hours, and I was a different person.
I can't imagine how you would not be.
Exactly. That's what I
Yeah.
say to people. I'm like, you can't help but change. These men are
Yeah.
the best in the world at what they do. And to have the opportunity to train with them is an absolute privilege.
So let me ask you this, especially since you're now continuing. I know you started this when you were younger, like in
Yep.
2016. I'm 65.
Yep.
Do you see women and men in my age group going through these programs?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
There's a lot of gray hair.
Okay. Excuse me. I just want to point out this is blue.
No, I meant me.
I know.
Now,
I
I
know.
did.
I had to throw that out there.
Sure.
Yeah.
And I mean that as a compliment too. So
Yeah.
I did another
Yeah.
training with a gentleman who's a retired supervisory FBI agent. I did some personal coaching with him. His name is Dennis Stoika, and he's on the East Coast. He is also a Krav Maga expert.
That's an interesting technique.
Yeah. Now, and the reason why I did this training, or part of the reason, it wasn't the whole reason, was because I have that ex-husband out there somewhere.
Yes.
And I don't know if or when he's ever going to show up. Now, it's been 10 years. I don't think he's going to show up at this point.
Let's hope not.
Yeah. And I'm not concerned, because I also spent another 2 days training with Dennis, this Krav Maga FBI agent, expert. And he put me through 22 hours of training in 2 days. He taught me how to get out of strangulation. He taught me how to take a gun away, a handgun, a long gun. He taught me how to fend off knife attacks. And we practiced it over and over and over again. So my context is I'm trained. And a lot of that training is not just about the skills that you learned. It's about what happens in the heart and how you shift and you become confident. And one of the things I write about is how when I came out of sheepdog training, I realized that I had been, as a low self-esteem woman, I had been prey. And this, I think, is a really important point to drive home, especially to women who are low self-esteem and low self-worth.
Yes.
And you don't want to hear this, but this is the truth. There are predators out there, the wolves, and they are looking for you.
Every minute of every day.
Exactly. So now I have this training and this newfound confidence. I am not prey, and I will never be prey again. So when you ask me if I feel safe, yeah, I do.
So, did this help you? We live in a virtual world.
Yep.
And I did an episode with Debbie Montgomery Johnson. She was part of our online romance scam. Former Air Force intelligence officer, brilliant woman. And, the point was it can happen to anyone.
Exactly.
Do the techniques that you learn, can they give you enough confidence or skill to also not be prey online?
Yes. And that's a different set of skills. I would refer to that as boundaries.
Yes.
And I never had boundaries before because I always wanted to make people happy and make them like me. That's what you do when you have no self-esteem. You try and get people to like you. So now I am very clear, and a lot of this came from all of this training. I am clear on my principles. I am clear on my passions, and I'm clear on my boundaries.
I think boundaries may be the most difficult thing to learn for most women.
Yes. We're not supposed to have them.
Exactly, because we are supposed to be there for everyone. For our parents, for our spouses or partners, for children, our jobs, the community, whatever. And it's really interesting because I talk about my daughter a lot on this podcast.
Yeah.
And I will say that one of the things that impresses me the most with her is that she's always had this ability to set better boundaries than I did. And I think it's generational. I also think that she saw what me allowing all these people to infiltrate my every minute of my time was doing to me. And I think somewhere in the recesses of her mind, she said, "Oh, hell no, you're not doing that to me."
Right.
Now, with that said, she's not a mean person in any way. She
No,
would
of
give you the
course
shirt
not.
off her back.
Right.
But she can set boundaries and is not afraid to say what they are.
Right.
I still aspire to that. I really do.
Yeah.
And so, first, I want to tell you, like, you are definitely inspiring me to really look into this training because
Yeah.
what I have also noticed is at my age, in no way do I feel like this vulnerable, little frail old woman or
Hmm.
anything like that. But I do wonder if I was going out to my car and someone just approached me in my driveway, what would I do? Or, you know,
Yeah.
I know when I'm scared,
Hmm.
my vocal cords shut down.
Yeah.
So I'm not even someone who could scream for help.
It's the freeze, fight, or flight.
Yes. Yes.
Yeah. And that
Yeah.
can be trained. Yes.
Yes. I'm
Yeah.
fascinated. So for all of the people who are listening to this podcast, I mean, we've touched on some really powerful themes. If you want to get past those expectations that other people have set forth for you,
Hmm. Hmm.
what is your best advice for how do they get started doing that, even no matter what their age is?
So the approach that Mark teaches is called the 5 mountain program.
Okay.
So you want to approach it from the physical, the mental, the emotional, the intuitional,
Oh,
and what he calls kokoro. Kokoro is a Japanese word that means merging of the heart and the mind. Basically, it's the
oh,
spiritual piece of you.
I've not heard it phrased that way, but
You're fine.
yeah.
So when you work on each piece of that, they all support each other and your results become exponential. Because you see a lot of people out there who may be in great physical shape, but they're emotional and mental messes.
Yes.
So we need to work on our whole selves.
It's a holistic approach.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And this philosophy actually comes from Ken Wilber. And Mark has kind of used it as a platform and expanded it. And
I see.
He has Ken's blessing because I've
Yes.
listened to the podcast.
Yes.
But it is fascinating, and that's how I have been doing it. I've been moving forward using this kind of program. Now, with that said, I have also worked with an EMDR specialist to face the trauma that I was carrying around.
Yeah.
And I have been doing that since 2017, and I have gotten phenomenal results. So my point being is that you need to look at all of you.
Yeah.
You really do. And when you do that, then you are empowered. And the other thing I've learned too is that by facing trauma and owning it and healing it, I am in charge, not the trauma. And the unresolved trauma is what's in charge if it's unresolved. And that journey has evolved for me from one of healing, and there's still healing going on. I don't want to, misrepresent this.
Right.
It's really become a journey of self-discovery.
Yeah.
And that's exciting.
I think self-discovery is very exciting. And I always say, I'm not done yet.
Yes.
I'm not
Yeah.
stopping learning. I'm
Yeah.
not stopping, all these wonderful things that are available to me
Yeah.
in the world to do. There's not a reason in the world I can't do them. Except, as I told someone earlier today, except join the military, and I don't want to join the military
Yes.
anyway. But aside from that, there is nothing off limits to me.
Mhm.
And this is one of the things that I'm trying to inspire other women to
Mhm.
believe and understand and recognize
Mhm.
is that it's never too late. You're never too old.
Yeah.
Your life can be anything that you want it to be.
Yes,
You
it can.
just have to reimagine it and
Yep.
believe that it can happen.
Yes.
You, my friend, are a wonderful example of that
Thank you.
because you easily could have, whatever my parents say, as so many of us do, who
Right.
cares?
Right.
You could have turned it into a total loss of your life.
Exactly.
You did not.
Hmm.
you ended up in a very abusive relationship, and now look at you. You are a woman of strength and power, and you don't show me any signs of stopping anytime soon.
Nope.
What's next on your horizon before we end this wonderful
Sure,
conversation?
sure. And just to add one thing, at the
Yeah.
sheepdog training that I attended,
Yeah.
there was a man there who was 80 years old.
Oh, okay. All right.
Yeah. So I turn 56 next week.
Okay. Happy birthday.
Thank you.
Early.
You're a little
Yeah.
early. I worked very, very hard to create the life that I wanted. I live the skier's life here in Colorado.
You're a skier.
I'm a former instructor. I'm a telemark skier. I got 32 days in. I have a huge community of ski friends, and I spend pretty much every weekend up in the mountains in the wintertime. I am so enjoying, the life that I have created,
Yeah.
and I'm just want to kind of expand that and friends and relationships and maybe even start writing again. So, and developing a
Oh,
coaching
yeah.
practice. So,
Well,
um,
count me in. I would love to be your friend.
well,
So,
thank you.
yeah,
Likewise.
I love your story, and thanks so much for sharing it with us. Thank you again so
Thank you so
much.
much. Thank you for having me as a
Yes,
guest.
absolutely. If you liked this show, please be sure to like us, follow us, subscribe to us, give us a review, because it really helps grow our podcast.